Hello and howdy, and welcome back to City Skylines 2. Walking on interchanges is already difficult, but trying to fill the sides of the highways is even more difficult. Most of the time, we just zone residential and move on. But how do you make it interesting and unique? Well, over here, we have a huge highway side area that is empty. On its other side, we have a huge sprawling suburb, and if you come close, we have this community center inspired from Burnaby, and on its side we have the storage garages, which in my opinion are perfect highway side developments. Therefore, on the other side, we are going to the very north of Houston, Texas in the Woodlands, where we have a good mixture of hotels, offices, and lots of commercials all lined up nicely. Before we move on, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, and if you are new or enjoy my content, please subscribe, and a huge thank you to these for joining the Patreon, and thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it. So let's start with planning. How are you going to approach these areas? First of all, we decide where our commercials and offices will go, as they are going to be grouped together. Then we decide where our industries or warehouses will go. So in our case, we are going to have the first group on the right side of the interchange, maybe one row of blocks on the left, which will change to warehouses and industries. For commercials, I am planning to use as many signature buildings as I can over here. I think it will be fun and look super cool. And I really do not care about industries as much as the air pollution is going outwards towards the ocean. So we are all good to go in terms of that. First things first, we are going to focus on the roads and layouts. The best part of these highway side commercial zones is that you have a separate off-ramp or slip lane that goes for quite long, which connects to these places. So in case if you are coming up for shopping or want some fuel or stay at a hotel, you can come through them. And after getting this set up, I can come here and connect it to the end and fix some sloping issues with the help of Move It. This additional slip lane allows us to connect any other two-way road to it. I am starting with a wide one, which will act as our main collector road for this area, and to make it feel nice, for now I will upgrade its median to grass, which we will detail using favorite dead version of pink flower bush using the line tool, and place it with some spacing and offset variation. Looks pretty cool and also fills up the empty space all nicely. Now I will get myself the vanilla 2-lane road and place it a little aback, and using the road builder, I will add a median in between and remove the parking sides entirely. So over here, I forgot to hit record, but fortunately we only placed this one stop station, and this time I am going to detail as we progress and not detail in the end. So over here, I'm going to start with a tree border towards the slip lane, which includes oak, spruce, and London plane at the mature age. And after them, we will do our classic wild pink bush at dead age and sink it in the ground around -0.7 meter, and we will populate all the available green spaces with it. After this, we have what it looks like a dirt edge around the buildings. And I think this doesn't look good as it is vanilla, so I will replace this with Gaga XM ground surface and make it blend nicely. We have the less dense version of it and place it around the property to give a nice ground feel and look. Then filling the empty areas with the same long grass, which is wild pink flower bush set at dead stage and sunken. I don't want to say this again and again, so just take it that. Moving on with some decal work on the asphalt, we are using the Real Vision decals to add some flavor to the road too, and using the reference sizes wherever necessary, just so we fill all the spaces. Then for the last bit of detailing, we will use the tire marks to just add more level of detail to the parking areas, and finally end it with some big bushes in fronts and the side. One last thing though, we have this road where I added the bushes, but now that I think about it, I will have to remove them, as when I break off any connection, the bushes will stay because of anarchy. And now that we are clean, I will extend out an alley right in front of the entrance to the station. Now moving to the side over here, I have the best option that we can place, And it's really easy to guess because it's going to be the big supermarket, which will again be away from the slip lane for about one cell, and we are all good to go. Now on its back, I will extend the alley and cover it so that I can add another building here. But before we place the big one, I will zone some small commercials on the side. After this, I think it's better if we seal off the bottom opening space with detailing and then move upwards. So I will do that real quick. Even in the Woodlands area, we have a lot of greenery beside almost every shop, and especially beside the slip lane. Not only this adds a little buffer from the highway, but also helps in creating a safe gap for citizens. After this, we will tidy up the supermarket, or shall I say add some grunge and breakups, because at first replace the grass texture with Gaga XM surfaces, then adding some long grass on the edges where we have the grass surface, and then proceed to place the Real Vision decals to add some texture to the asphalt. This texture in particular is my favorite because not only this texture is subtle, but when placed at negative 0.4 meters, it has details enough that it allows for some grunge look. And lastly, in the entrance and exit area, I will use the smaller one, but you will notice the edges of it are really sharp. So one way to solve it is if you select them and tone down the increment of the steps for rotation, then rotate the Z value, you will get a tilt something like this, which will result in a smooth fade off of the decals. Now coming to this area that we wanted to build on, we have this Nitro Kingdom leisure venue asset that not only fits perfectly here, but also looks appropriate with a big building and lots of parking. Yet again, we will decorate the surroundings of this asset with exactly same techniques. The Woodlands, despite bordering Houston, is actually a part of Montgomery County, spread out at a pretty big 43.9 square miles or 113.6 kilometers square of area, which is actually heavily forested, and much of the community has retained the trees for shade and decoration. And that is why we are trying to make this commercial zone as realistic as possible, at least with the nature and conservation of forest. Now moving forward, I am going to place a bunch of signature assets here that just snugs in all well, and we have at least one cell gap between all the buildings. And yes, I know placing so many commercials that to signature buildings can result in some issues down the line, but if it gets a little worse, then I will add some residential zoning more on the right, of course by following our district planning guide series, links down in description. And meanwhile, also not forgetting to zone some commercials in between rather than placing all the signature buildings. And now again, we will do the same detailing in between the areas that we have got. The Woodlands is actually pretty big commercial and corporate office hub. Back in 2000s, over 1/3 of total corporate office constructions in Greater Houston were being done here. As a result, we have the Woodland Mall, Market Street, Hodges Landing, and a number of business parks that host some major companies like ExxonMobil, Huntsman, etc. And in no time, you can see we have a really good looking part of the commercial hub here. Now on the top, we are going to place a hotel, and in my opinion, the Grand Dynasty Hotel will fit perfectly here, followed by some commercial and offices on its side, and perhaps a King Leno's residential asset next to an office behind the hotel, and we can call them a part of the hotel and like to have them to be a bar or restaurant. I think that sounds good. And now we detail these again. The Woodlands also has a diverse range of housing, from affordable family homes to townhouses to luxury estates. Everything is spread across self-contained villages or gated communities, each having their own schools, shopping center, and amenities like abundance of parks which are at walkable distances from every house. Now moving on to the right, here I will extend the road sort of accordingly to our layout and try and keep the same road type that we had for that one, and then place SHURE Arena, which is this massive building for esports. I think having this right at the edge of this highway side commercial area should be a good option. And similarly, to the previous places, we will switch the ugly vanilla surface with our preferred ones and then detail the rest with some trees and long grass. Now for this massive gap over here, we will have some more of the commercials. In terms of numbers, half of the Woodlands' 28,000 acres of land is actually preserved forest, lakes and even wetlands. Due to this, we have more than 220 miles of hikes and bike trails that weave through the neighborhoods, linking more than 200 parks, boardwalks, and even golf courses, which are part of some luxury gated communities. All this encourages walking, cycling within the woodlands. I mean, for an area housing about 120,000 residents, having these parks and trails just make it much more lively to live here. In the woodlands, in this highway side area, we also have lots of hospitals and different clinics and everything. So in City Skylines 2, I can't have so many as it would eat up our profit. So I will place the Eastern European hospital over here, fitting almost perfectly, and then on its side I will extend the road to have a fire station here, and on its side a small office building, and the later part on its right can easily transition to the suburbs. So the whole area is done on the right, at least most of it. And now let's focus on the left, starting with placing the Pinfall Palace, which fits perfectly, and then some roads on its back and the side, which will allow us to sneak in a parking lot at the end. Now it's on its back, we can use the Morris's supermarket here, and on its side in the corner we have a small lake here. So see, in the woodlands we have a whole waterway here, but we can't have that in our case. Hence, for the hotels here we have a nice lake which we will decorate right now. So I will grab the long grass and lay it down at corners of the lake, and then a sapling stage of the oak tree, similarly underground to fill the empty spaces more, followed by some bush variations here. And I think I'll let you enjoy the hyperlapse of this hotel backyard detailing, and I will meet you when we'll start the industrial part. So here you haven't missed a lot, but in the back end I made this Briarwood highway and also fixed and reoriented the Beechwood lane. So at first I will make a few big connections here, marking the boundary and the main road here using the wide 2-lane industrial road that I made, and then start with the big pharma building that will go on the right side and the Switchcon factory on the bottom left corner. Then after that I will make some more road connections in this whole area, slowly forming up the layout. And for the plopping I'll start with the offices. So one office behind the pharma one, and I reckon some big guys can go in front, and a huge office complex right behind with a staircase or step pattern from the tallest to the shortest, and hopefully with matching colors too. Then in between we can have some pocket parks, and at the back of the tallest one a small parking lot, followed by a huge plaza detailing at the back of the office complex. So starting with the surface, as I need to fill the whole area with appropriate surfaces, then using Sully's vanilla decals to add some grass patch, some medium squares for the main area, and then the bigger circle in the corner for fountain. And then we can start placing all the props and lights and bushes and trees and everything. As I mentioned before, the Woodlands has some big corporate presence with companies like Chevron, Phillips Chemical, and many business parks like Panther Creek, Research Forest that cater to energy, biotech, etc. Now we move on to some plopping and detailing of the industries. So let's cue the hyperlapse. We have to plop all the industries and detail the rest of the area that is remaining here and there, and I will meet you in the final showcase. As you can see, we have finished the whole build, and here is everything and how it is looking. And you can see that the commercial zones and the offices and the industries on the top are looking really good on the highway side, and it looks different compared to if you just zone the whole thing with residential. I think it also now complements our community center over here and the storage garages over here, because now we have a really good buffer or a transition from this sort of like commercial and this sort of like zoning over here to the whole suburban sprawl on the left. And for this small suburban sprawl over here, you can see that we have tried to do a small transition. So we have like the commercial zones and offices over here, and then we have used the medium density and row housing over here to sort of like translate to a medium density housing. And then we move to the suburban, or the low density housing. And if we come to the main entrance, which is actually over here, then you can see how this one looks. We have a huge hotel over here with the lake and the small detailings, then the small gazebo area over here, and then the two buildings and some commercial. And on its front, we have a lot of commercial buildings over here. I think these look really good along the highway with the supermarket. Then we have Nitro Kingdom, then we have got the hotels at the back, and on the left side we have like this huge office complex over here. Then we have got some commercial and office buildings on the front. Then we've got this big pharma building and some industries, and we've got a big office building over here. If we come up close, then you can see this hotel and how it looks. We've got a nice park over here that easily transitions into this sort of like pathway layout, and which basically loops back to the hotel. And over here in the corner we have a small detailing over here with the gazebo, some benches, flower beds and flower pots. And then for the lake itself, we have used the long grass with some sapling stage of oaks and some bush variations for color. And then we have got the big ones, which is London Plain and Linden. And on the corner over here we have the rock detailing, because it just fills up the corner really nicely and also looks pretty cool. On the front over here, we have a commercial area over here for the hotel. So it can be a restaurant or a bar, but if you see here, we have some shopping stalls over here, then some trash cans, and then we have got the tables and benches, and then over here a small park over here, just you know, just to make it look nice. After that, we come to the industrial area, which is also filled with trees. So we have not left them completely concrete area. And I think because this is mostly warehouses, I think it kind of makes sense, but also I think we need that because we are inspiring from the Woodlands, which is basically a huge conservation forest. And for the big office complex, if we come at the back, then you can see how we have worked on it. So we have the pocket parks in between of each of them. And then we have got two of these over here and then a small one over there. We have got a huge fountain and then some lights and some bushes and everything. And in between we have like the sort of like pattern over here with the grass decal and then some spruce benches and some garden beds on the other side. And then we have got some benches lined up nicely over here and a small pocket park over here and a small parking lot over here just to make it look nicely. And this is basically the whole plaza for this office complex. And then on the back it's basically more of like our industries. And then over here we have the ground earth station, then switchcon on the back, and this basically all travels to this area where we have the vehicle manufacturing plant and then some more industries surrounding it with some trees and everything. And I think this is looking pretty good compared to before. I think this fills up so much nicely, and I can really imagine how this whole island will look now with the sprawling suburbs and then the highway side commercial area that we have got over here transitioning into old downtown or something later on. So this was our highway side industrial and commercial and office build. I hope you enjoyed it and you liked the video, and if you did, then please leave a like and subscribe for more content like these. Check out my Patreon to support the channel and the work that I do. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, enjoy the cinematics and happy building.